I really prefer to stay positive about fencing. It's an amazing sport to take part in and to watch. I think on the whole things are positive. The vast majority of fencers, referees, coaches, officials, etc. engage in a sport in good faith. You know, there's been some amazing fencing over this weekend with a Women's World Cup in Lima, Peru, and a Men's World Cup in Tbilisi, Georgia. And I don't want that to be ignored. I post a lot of highlights on Instagram. If that's what you want to see, go and follow me there. Having said all that, there are some significant problems with Sabre right now, and we all know that it revolves around referees or refereeing. So before we get into any questions about integrity and all these allegations about competition manipulation and all that, I think we need to talk about the competence of referees. There was this bout between Sebastien Patrice and Sandro Bazadze that is an absolute disaster class in refereeing. Things started to escalate kind of towards physical violence towards the end, which isn't great. It all starts with some strange calls, like here. I really can't see how you can give this against Patrice here. What mistake does he make? I don't know. No hesitation with the feet, no mistake with the hand. I don't really get how you can give this touch to Bazadze here. But you know, refs make mistakes, that's okay, to an extent. But I do find it strange that this was upheld on the video appeal. But what do I know? Then we have a call here. The ref gives a reprise to Bazadze, which I think it's a reasonable call. I think it's fair. The stream glitches, so you can't see exactly what happens here, but Sebastien drops his mask, or takes off too aggressively, so Duvis cards him for that, which again is reasonable. You want to nip this kind of behaviour in the bud before it escalates, before you get more protesting and arguing and all that. And then, you know, things carry on in pretty good spirit, to be fair. Both fencers are putting fingers up, admitting to being hit, which is, you know, generally a good sign, good thing to see. But then we have this. Sandro puts his hand up, presumably because he thinks Seb starts early. It's always hard to tell on stream because the sound is often out of sync, but basically, unless there was some other reason to ask for halt, either Seb should be carded for starting early or Sandro should be carded for halting for no reason. If you don't card here, both fencers will start playing games and things can get messy quite quickly. Then we have this touch. The ref gives it to Patrice. To be perfectly honest, I can understand why Bazadze would be frustrated with this call. In my opinion, there's no need to split this. You know, I'd be happy with someone here, but again, what do I know? Well, look, the match carries on. You know, it's not like the fencers are arguing every touch for the sake of arguing. But then we have this call, which is pretty bad in my opinion. The ref calls it power post. Well, Seb cuts to flank. Sandro looks for carte. Yeah, there's a bit of blade contact, but that's only really because Bazadze's blade lands in Patrice's forte, which, you know, as he sweeps across. Of course, things look different on video, but from what I can see, I don't see how it can be a power post. Anyway, the call stands. Patrice is obviously annoyed. Bazadze is talking to the ref. Patrice feels it's unfair because, you know, he got a yellow earlier for his behaviour, but Bazadze is repeatedly getting in the ref's face. You can see now the referee supervisors are getting involved. Papa Toure seems to talk to both coaches. Anyway, things carry on. And we have this. Seb looks for quinte. Honestly, I think it's probably mal parry, and that's what the ref gives. But you can understand why he would be annoyed that soft parries are being given to Bazadze, but not him. And then things start to escalate. Bazadze gets in Patrice's face. Patrice shoves him away. It's pretty clear that things are escalating, you know. I think at this point is where the ref has to take both fencers aside, you know, together, give him a good talking to, because otherwise he's losing control of the situation.
You know, boys, I'm not mad. I'm just really disappointed because you both gave me buy-in before the game in the change room that you'd be able to control your players. So did you lie to me, or is it something you can fix from now? Thank you. Speak to both your teams. Thank you.
Then it looks like we're getting a bit of trash talking. I don't know what they're saying, but I don't imagine it's friendly. And it kind of all goes to here. To me it looks like Patrice steps off the side, not entirely sure, but the ref doesn't say halt. Bazadze starts putting his hand up to ask for halt, the ref doesn't see it. Eventually Bazadze gets the pyro post and then screams in Patrice's face and gives him a good shove. Now it's worth noting that in the past fences have been carded for, swearing to themselves. Just shouting to themselves, not in the face of the opponent, no violence, that's been enough to earn a card in the past. But according to Duvis, this particular case, this behaviour is perfectly acceptable. Then we have this, in my opinion, I think is a shocking decision. You shouldn't need slow-mo, but if you do slow it down, it seems pretty clear that Patrice gets the pyro post. To me, it feels like the referee is just crumbling to the pressure of the Georgian crowd. And then Patrice is obviously not happy, and Duvis is repeatedly screaming mask at him, and he's lost control of the situation now. Anyway, you see, even here Sandro puts his hand up. So, I'm sure he could be screaming and trying to claim every point if he wants. I don't know. I'm sure he wants to win fairly, it's not, it's not black and white. And then, Bazadze wins. But I just want to highlight something here because it really annoys me. Basically, you see the ref calls en garde. Bazadze is still moving. Prêt, he's still moving. Then as soon as he stops, the ref says allez. Which basically means Bazadze can decide when the ref is going to say allez, which, that's unfair. It happens a lot. I think a lot of referees just do it because they don't want to wait hours for both fences to be still. But, obviously it's not fair. It allows one fencer to control when they go. Anyway, at the end of the bout, things blow up. People have been black carded for less, but obviously nobody's going to suspend either of these fencers this close to the Olympics. These fencers, I don't think they usually train together, but they both fence on the team for Orléans at French domestic competitions. I'm sure they've had a decent relationship before, and I hope they can work past this. Both these fencers are both very passionate on the piece. I think they both know and understand that. I still have a lot of love for both of them, but I really think if a referee had managed things better, got his cards out earlier for behaviour, things probably shouldn't have escalated as much as they have. Anyway, that's one thing. The other thing is FIE rules not being followed when it comes to the assignment of referees. I've talked about this before. In the FIE Code of Conduct, it says pretty clearly that referees should avoid refereeing where there is an actual or perceived conflict of interest. It also gives a list of potential conflicts, but these rules are broken all the time. An example being here, where Reza Pekarara referees a match where one of the fencers has an Iranian coach, Mustafa Bedini, which is an explicit conflict of interest. I see no reason to believe that there was unfair refereeing, but I think we can all agree that rules should be followed. If the rules are bad, the rules should be changed, but you can't just ignore them, otherwise that just opens up the door to corruption, which a lot of people have been talking about. As a side note, I also find it quite strange that Pekarara has been selected as one of the few referees to referee épée at the Olympics in Paris, which is kind of strange because he's primarily a saber ref, and from what I can tell, he hasn't refereed a single senior épée World Cup in the last 10 years. He's done a few World Championships and Asian Games, I think. Maybe someone can check that. But it's strange that there are refs, épée refs doing many épée World Cups a year who aren't being selected for this, but he is. And he isn't selected for saber, which is strange. It's all a bit odd if you ask me. Then we can look at what happened in Lima. I didn't watch a whole lot, so if you saw anything interesting, please let me know in the comments. But the team event looked kind of, some interesting results. There were two big upsets, both with significant ramifications for Olympic qualification, both with some interesting referee decisions, and both were refereed by Fikret Valiyev, who also happened to be coaching in the individual event and then refereeing in the teams. Now, initially to me this looked like it would be against the rules, and I polled on Instagram, and most people thought it would be too. But actually, because of the way competitions are defined, then this is actually totally legal, I think. Anyway, first there's Japan versus Bulgaria, where it feels like a lot of the tight decisions are going towards the Bulgarians. As I've said before, there is basically no objectivity in saber now, so it's kind of impossible to say that anything is right or wrong. But I pulled a few things on Instagram, and there were a couple that people definitely disagreed with. I think you have to watch the match in full to get a better idea of things. Anyway, then there is Mexico versus Korea, which is similar story, with the Mexicans getting a few crucial calls that many people disagreed with. Mexico winning that match as well kind of helped Bulgaria because, at least on paper, it gave them an easier match in the last day. If Mexico make it into the top 16 in the Olympic rankings and USA stay in the top 4, then Mexico will qualify in the Pan American spot for the Olympics. So this result could be incredibly important for them. For Bulgaria, it is also a big result because it keeps them in the running for the European spot. Although Ukraine are still 57 points ahead of them, I think. So, who knows how that will pan out. Anyway, I really do hope that everything is being done fairly. Olympic qualification is a pretty big thing. There is a lot at stake. To end things on a positive note, big congratulations to Korea for maintaining their dominance in the men's team event, even if they missed some of their usual superstars. I think you all know I'm a big fan of Do Kyung-dong, so I hope he can transfer some of his success into individual too. Anyway, if you want to support what I do here, please think about joining the Patreon. I put bits of exclusive things, not a whole lot, but you also get some early access to videos. But basically every bit of support makes a big difference, so yeah, I think about it. Cheers, thanks, see ya.